How's it going, guys? Jackson here with the Toaster Bros, and today we're going to be building a new/used PC. Hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so prior to making this video, I'm not too sure what the price range of this PC is going to be, but I will put in the description and maybe even in the video how much each of the parts are new and then how much you can kind of average get them used. Okay, so all the used components of this build are going to be right here already on this motherboard. So we have an FX 8350. This actually this processor is not too old. I think it's only maybe a year old. It was in my in-desk PC. And then this is my motherboard, in which I've always loved this board. It's a MSI 970 Gaming. Now this is kind of like before they had the RGB boards, as far as I know, where you do have like the little boost audio and there's a couple of LEDs that kind of run through the board. So it's really cool because, like I said, this board has ran back for probably like 2 or 3 years, and I know that I've had 2 of these now. This build is a little bit older. Of course, we have DDR3 RAM. So this is some HyperX. It's obviously the black. You can get it in like black, red, and white. And I think it's 8 gigs, obviously running a dual channel of 1866. So it's a decent speed, and it obviously looks really good with the whole entire board configuration. Next up, we have the RX 460. So this is the 4 gig model, so that's obviously plenty of video memory. This is made by Gigabyte, and they are obviously offered in quite a few different variants like MSI and some other ones. The power supply, we have a CX430. This is just a Corsair power supply. It's not modular at all as far as I can remember yet. It's just basically a normal standard power supply. I did have the, I think, $20 rebate on this one. Next up, I wanted to try something new. This is the Seagate FireCuda. So this is actually supposed to be, I think it's 5 times faster than a normal hard drive. I guess it's basically an SSHD, so basically it has like 8 to 16 gigs of solid state storage on it, and the rest of it's a hard drive where whenever you're like transferring stuff, it goes through the SSD first and then transfers later to the hard drive. Now Matt actually told me about this cooler. This is called the H7 by Cryorig. It's basically kind of favored over the Hyper 212 nowadays as far as I've read reviews. And then for the case, I'm going to try and hold all the way back here so I don't feel like moving the camera. We have the DIYPC. I think it's pronounced Vishera. It's supposed to be like a red and black type theme, obviously just like the rest of the build. So I'm going to kind of wait until we get a little bit further in the build to actually get all the plastic on this case. I don't want to scratch it because it looks really awesome, and it has one of those full clear side panels, so those can get scratched like super easy. So let's go ahead and start getting into building this. Okay, so typically when building a PC, what I like to do first is kind of get anything you can get onto the motherboard on there before you go ahead and put it in the case. So I'm going to go ahead and see what's going to take to get this cooler on. As you can see, I already have the backplate off because I was running a 240mm cooler on this for a little bit. So we're going to see if we got to swap out brackets, if I can put those back on. I'm assuming it comes with brackets. So yeah, check this thing out. It's actually like very beefy. It's not tall at all. Well, it is tall, but the actual, where these copper heat sinks, which I'm assuming they're copper that's painted, but could be wrong. Looks like there's 6 heat pipes, but you can see they're not tall at all. They don't really come very far off of the actual heat sink itself. So that's pretty cool. It actually came with a really good sized tube of thermal paste. I don't know too much about this stuff. It says CP7 Cryorig High Density Cryo Paste. It's just thermal paste, but you know, we can be fancy here. So it comes in a really pretty tube, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this stuff because the other stuff that I have isn't really that great anyways. I think it's just thermal take, so it won't really be a difference. Okay, so in the instructions, it's kind of like any other one that I've ever gotten. We got this AMD backplate here. I don't know if it's just for AMD and Intel, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You take your old bracket off of the back of the motherboard and you put this one on. These screws are going to go up through here, and they're going to screw into your actual heatsink. Okay, so now you can see we have the backplate on. There's just 4 little screws. You don't even use these over here. 4 little screws go in here. And then we have these little, they're kind of like plasticky rubber riser mounts that go on over the screw. They just clip on. Everything basically clips on as of right now. And we're going to go ahead and take the cooler. Obviously, it doesn't really matter which way you position it, but if you want the logo to be the right way, which I'm kind of looking at the logo right now and I have no clue which way would be the right way, then you're just going to pick how you want to put the block on there. Okay, so the fan and CPU heatsink are mounted on the board. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pop this I/O in. Okay, now to install this big tentacle mess of a Corsair power supply. So we got to pick if we want the fan to go up or down. Now in this build it is hidden, but as you can see there's no airflow if we put the fan this way, so we're going to put it upside down so that the airflow can go out the bottom through a filtrated screen. Okay, so now you can see we are this far. So far it's already looking awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and do now, and I'm not really going to get most of this on video, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of all these cables, get them hooked up to things, and I'll come back once I got it cable managed. Okay, so once I'm about halfway done with cable management, what I like to do is go ahead and snap the hard drive bay out. So this one's actually kind of hidden. The other side here is actually, you cannot see it from the front, so you can only get to the hard drive from the back. So obviously we're going to stick the drive on the tray this way. Some of these just snap into place, some of them screw, and it looks like this one snaps in. Alright, so you can kind of hear it snap into place once you get it on there. So there's no screws needed, although it is kind of cool. They do have conveniently 2 spots for if you do want to put screws, but I'm not going to, so that's just going to slide back in, then it'll click. And then you can also actually screw these trays in too, but they do clip in, so you don't really have to worry about that either. And then go ahead and run your SATA cable and then your SATA power cable. Alright guys, so now for the final walk around. We got this computer nice and built and ready to go. You can see we got the cable management looking awesome right down there. You can see we just have the bare minimums and no extra cables, and then of course right up there, then you really can't even notice the CPU 8-pin up there or any of the fan cables. I'd say the worst one would probably be this one. But yeah, I mean, this thing actually turned out awesome. You can see we have the 2 120mm fans at the bottom there and that one up there. It's kind of interesting how it looks up here. You can see you can really only see the 120mm that's up top. You can't really see the one down bottom. You can just see the LEDs around it, which I kind of think is a cooler look. But at the same time, I think it would be cool if you could see both of the circles there from the fans. I'm not really too sure why this one doesn't show as much. I mean, obviously they're both on, but I don't know if maybe it's just not as circulated down there or what. But I mean, overall though, this build turned out awesome. This is probably by far one of my favorite DIY cases that I've ever used. Probably one of the favorite cases I've ever used, just because simply this design is, I mean, absolutely genius down here, where they have it all blocked off. You can see the motherboard, full ATX obviously, but fits just perfect. I mean, everything's like incredibly snug in this build, and there's no, you know, there's not like a whole lot of extra room, but there is at the same time. It's like you have extra room in the right spots, but then you don't have extra room in the wrong spots, like a lot of builds that I see. We hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more custom builds like this. We'll see you guys later.